Hello, my yarny friends. I'm Sara Sach, and welcome back to my crochet channel. Now, today's video is our Friday Fun Day, and I thought it would be super fun to make this doily. Now, it measures about 14 inches across, so it's a really nice size, the perfect size for decorating during the holiday season, all the way from the beginning of September through Thanksgiving. And the truth is, you could make this in Christmas colors, and it would be beautiful for Christmas, or any colors to match your decor. Now, I chose to do a fall colors, and you saw in the pictures at the beginning, both of the doilies that we're going to make today are going to be fall tones. Now, you can use cotton or acrylic, whichever you prefer, as long as it's a medium weight number 4 yarn. And we'll talk more about yarns in just a few minutes. Now, like I said, it measures about 14 inches across, so it's a really nice size doily. And I know it might look a little bit complicated, but once we get going, you're going to realize it's really a super easy project, and you're going to really enjoy stitching it up. Now, you can find the complete pattern with pictures on my blog, and as always, I'll put that blog link down in those notes underneath this video. To make our cinnamon and spice doily, you're going to need a main color, and this one is the Crafter's Secret Cotton. It's called Nepalese Spices. It's a beautiful yarn, and you can see how beautiful it is stitched up. You're going to need about 2.5 ounces of your main color. Now, I'm going to use this one. This is acrylic, and this is Craftsmart from Michael's, and it's called Cinnamon. And so you can use either cotton or acrylic. Just make sure you're using a medium weight number 4 yarn, okay? So you need about 2.5 ounces of your main color. And then you need just about an ounce, if even an ounce, probably half an ounce, of green for the trim. Now, I love that green trim. If you don't, you want to do it in the same, you certainly can. You use your creative juices. You can even stripe this in different colors, and, whatever that you want to do, make it in whatever colors that you want. Just make sure you use a medium weight number 4 yarn. Now, we're going to be stitching with our eye hook today. That's a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. And I chose to design this with an eye hook because I want it to be just a little bit more open and lacy so that it has that filling that a doily should have. All right? And then you're going to need a needle just for weaving in ends and a pair of scissors. All right, we're going to begin with our slip knot. Chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll join this into a circle. We'll put the tail of yarn over our hook and just pull that through. Now, if you would like to start with the magic circle or another method of making your circle, you certainly can. All right, make that little stay knot. And now we're going to stitch in the circle. So we'll go in, pull up a loop, and chain 3. This chain 3 counts as our first double crochet. And now we're going to stitch a second double crochet and chain 1. Now we're going to repeat this 5 more times. So 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, and chain 1. 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, and chain 1. So now I have 3 sets. One and 2, chain 1, 1 and 2, chain 1, one more set. Try that again. There we go. And chain 1. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sets of 2 double crochets, chain 1. I'm going to join to that chain 3 with a slip stitch. I'm going to slip stitch in that next double crochet, then slip stitch in the chain 1 space and chain 3. All right, now before I go on and do round 2, I'm going to turn this over. I'm going to gently pull on that string. We're going to grab our needle and go ahead and weave this in. Now you can wait till the end to do this if you want to. I just always like to go ahead and get it done because we want to close up that hole and we also want to weave it in. If you did the magic circle, I suggest you go ahead and weave your end in here as well. But of course, it's up to you. You can always wait to the end if you want to. All right, we clip that off. And for round 1, we have 6 sets of 2 double crochet, chain 1. Let's do round 2. Now, our chain 3 counts as our first double crochet, and we're going to double crochet in this chain 1 space and chain 1. Now we're going to place 2 more double crochets in that same chain 1 space. And chain 1. So we have 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets, chain 1. Because our chain 3 counted is our first double crochet. Now we'll go to the next chain 1 space and stitch 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, chain 1, and 2 double crochets. Chain 1. And we'll repeat this on all of the chain 1 spaces. 2 double crochets, chain 1, and 2 double crochets. And we'll repeat that on these last 3 and then join back to our chain 3. We stitched 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets, chain 1 in each of those 6 chain 1 spaces, so we have 6 sets of those. We're going to join to our chain 3 with a slip stitch. Then we'll slip stitch in that next double crochet. Then we'll slip stitch in the chain 1 space, and again chain 3. And that chain 3 counts as our first double crochet. So we're going to do what we did here in this chain 1 space. So we're going to stitch a double crochet, chain 1, and 2 double crochets in that same chain 1 space. We'll chain 1, then we'll move over to this chain 1 space and stitch 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, and chain 1. Now we'll go to the next chain 1 space and stitch 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets, chain 1, then we'll go to that next chain 1 space and stitch 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, and chain 1. And so that is what we're repeating around, is 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets in that chain 1 space, then we chain 1 and just stitch 2 double crochets in the next and chain 1. And we'll repeat this all the way around. And then when we get back around, we'll join to our chain 3. We have 6 sets of 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochets, chain 1, and then 2 double crochets in the next chain 1 space and chain 1. Now we're going to join to that chain 3 with a slip stitch. Then we'll slip stitch in that double crochet, then slip stitch in the chain 1 space, and again chain 3. All right, now we're going to do the same thing in the 6 corners or 6 points. Our chain 3 counts as a double crochet, and then we'll double crochet, chain 1, and 2 more double crochets. And chain 1. Now we're going to move over here where we stitch those 2 double crochets in that chain 1 space. And we're going to stitch 2 double crochets in the first double crochet, 1 and 2, and 2 double crochets in that next double crochet, 1 and 2, and chain 1. So we increased from 2 to 4 double crochets. We chained 1, and now we'll move over to that next chain 1 space, and we'll stitch that point the same way that we've been stitching it. 2 double crochets, chain 1, and 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, and chain 1. All right, so we'll go to that next set of 2 double crochets, and we'll stitch 2 double crochets in the first one, and 2 double crochets in that second double crochet, and chain 1. And that's our repeat for round 4. We stitch our points the same, 2 double crochet, chain 1, and 2 double crochet, and then chain 1. And then in those 2 double crochets, we stitch 2 in each of those 2, and chain 1. One and 2, 1 and 2, and chain 1. And we'll repeat this on these next 3 sides and join back to our chain 3. I have completed round 4. We have 6 sets of our 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet, chain 1, and then 4 double crochets, chain 1. And again, we have 6 sets of those. All right, here's my chain 1. I'm going to join to that chain 3 with a slip stitch. We're going to slip stitch in that next double crochet and slip stitch in the chain 1 space and chain 3. All righty, now we're going to do the same thing because we're in one of those points. We're going to double crochet, chain 1, and 2 double crochets because our chain 3 counts as our first, and chain 1. Now this brings us to those 4 double crochets. We're going to stitch 2 double crochets in that first one, 1 and 2. We're going to stitch 1 double crochet in the next 2, 1, 2, and then in that last one of those 4, we're going to stitch 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, and chain 1. So we've increased from 4 to 6. All right, let's go to the next chain 1 space, and we'll stitch our 2 double crochets, chain 1, and 2 double crochets. Whoops. There we go. All righty, and chain 1. So our points are going to be the same, and you'll see those as they move through our shape. Because we're going to have 6 of them. So that makes it what? A hexagon. All right, so now we have 4. We'll go to that first one and stitch 2 double crochets. 1 double crochet in the next 2. 1 and 2. And 2 double crochets in that last of those 4. And chain 1. And that's our repeat for row 5. Our corner's the same, 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet, then chain 1, and then we increase from those 4 to 6 with 2, 1, 1, and 2 double crochets. We'll repeat this around and again join back to our chain 3. We have completed round 5. We have 2 double crochets, chain 1, and 2 double crochets in each of our points. Chain 1, and now we have 6 double crochets, chain 1, because we increased at the beginning and end of our 4. All right, so we'll join to our chain 3 with a slip stitch in our double crochet, and then slip stitch in the chain 1 space, and again, chain 3. All right, now our point is the same again, so we'll double crochet, chain 1, and 2 double crochets. And chain 1. Now when we come to our 6, we're going to do it a little bit different. We are going to place 2 double crochets in the first double crochet of that 6th group. We're going to stitch, chain 1 double crochet in the next stitch. We're going to chain 2. We're going to skip the next 2 and then double crochet in the next, and then 2 double crochets in the last of that 6. And chain 1. All right, so we stitch 2 in the first one, 1 in the next. We chain 2, we skip 2, 1 double crochet in the next, and 2 in the last of that 6. All right, and then chain 1, and then we stitch the next point the same, 2 double crochets, chain 1, and 2 double crochets. And chain 1. That brings us to our next set of 6, and we'll do what we did over here on each of those sets of 6 double crochets. So 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, 1 double crochet in the next, chain 2, skip 2, and double crochet in the next, and 2 double crochets in that last, whoops, those slid off of there, 2 double crochets in that last of our 6, and chain 1. And that's what our repeat is for round 6. Our corners are the same, or our points, 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2, then 1, chain 2, skip 2, 1, then 2 double crochets, and chain 1. And we'll repeat this all the way around, join back to our chain 3. Round 6 is complete. Again, we have 6 sets of our points. 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet, then we chained 1, we have 3 double crochets, chain 2, skip 2, 3 double crochets, and chain 1. And then we repeated that around. We joined to our chain 3 with a slip stitch. We slip stitched in our double crochet, slip stitched in our chain 1 space, and chain 3. Alrighty, we're moving right along, aren't we? Alright, so we're going to double crochet again chain 1 and 2 double crochets in our point or corner, whatever you want to call it, and chain 1. Now this brings us to this section here. We're going to stitch 2 double crochets in that first double crochet, 1 and 2. Then we'll stitch 1 in the next 2. We'll chain 2 and then come over here to this next double crochet and we'll stitch 1 double crochet in the next 2 and then 2 double crochets in that last one there of those 3 and chain 1. Alright, let's take a look at that so we can see how it looks. We increased by 1 here and here, so we have 4 instead of 3 in our 2 sections, and we still have our chain 2 here. All the other ones are chain 1s. The ones that are chain 2 are the ones that are in the center of our groups. Alright, so we chained 1. We'll go to our next chain 1 space that is a point here, and we'll stitch our 2 double crochets, chain 1, and 2 double crochets, and chain 1. That brings us to this next section, and we stitch 2 double crochets in that first double crochet, 1 double crochet in the next 2, 1 and 2, chain 2, 1 double crochet in the next 2 double crochets. There we go. And 2 double crochets in that last one of this section or set. And chain 1. So again, we have 4 on both of our little sections here with our chain 2s in between. And then, of course, our points are the same. And then we'll just repeat this all the way around and again join back to our chain 3. I have completed round 7. And the only difference from round 6 is we increased by 1 here and 1 here on each of our sides. I joined to my chain 3, slip stitched in the double crochet and slip stitched, chain 1 space and chain 3. Alright, so now what we're going to do is round 8. We'll do the point the same. Two double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet. Again, our chain 3 counted as our first. Chain 1, and then that brings us to these sections again. And so we're going to stitch 2 double crochets in that first one, 1 and 2, and then 1 double crochet in the next 3, 1, 2, and 3. Again, we'll chain 2, and then move over here and stitch 1 double crochet in the next 3, 1, 2, and 3. And then in that last double crochet of this group, we'll stitch 2 double crochets. 1 and 2 and chain 1. And so again, we're increasing at the beginning and end of this particular section. So we had 4, so now we have 5, chain 2 and 5 double crochets. Chain 1, and then again we're going to do our 2 double crochets in that point, and chain 1 and 2 double crochets, and chain 1. Then we'll increase by stitching 2 double crochets in that first double crochet, 1 double crochet in the next 3, 1, 2, and 3, chain 2, and then 1 double crochet in the next 3, 1, 2, 3, and then 2 double crochets in that last double crochet of that group, and chain 1. And that is the way that row 8 works, or round 8, I should say. And so we'll continue to repeat this all the way around, and again join back to our chain 3. I have completed round 8. Okay, so we have all of our points the same, 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets, chain 1. Then we increased at the beginning and end of our section, so now we have 5 double crochet, chain 2, and 5 double crochet. Okay, and so what we're going to do is we're going to continue to repeat this for 2 more rows. The only difference is you're going to be increasing from 5 to 6 and then to 7 on the next 2 rows on the beginning and ending of this section. Okay, and so it's exactly the same. You do your corner the same or your points all the same. You'll increase at the beginning and end of the section. And so we have 5 and 5. You'll have 6 and 6 and 7 and 7 on these sections. It's done exactly the same. You just have more stitches. All right, so go ahead and repeat row 7 2 more times, increasing every row. So we repeated those 2 rounds, only increasing in our in-between sections. So when you get to row 10, you should have 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Chain 2 and then 7, because we increase at the beginning and end of those sections. And of course, your corners are the same. 2 double crochets, chain 1, and 2 double crochets. Isn't that beautiful? Now, if you want to make your doily even bigger, you could continue to increase as we did, making it as big as you would like. All right? Now we're going to put the trim on. And so we're going to go ahead and cut our yarn. But if you want your trim to be the same color, that's totally fine. I'm going to be using this green. I think it's going to look really nice. So after we completed row 10, we joined to our chain 3, we slip stitched in our double crochet, and then we slip stitched in our chain 1 space. So I'm going to bring in my green. There we go. All right, I'm going to go in that chain 1 space and chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to do the corner similar. All right, so I'm going to double crochet. And now I'm going to do a picot stitch. Chain 3. Slip stitch in the top of that stitch. And then we'll stitch 2 more double crochets. So instead of chaining 1, we stitched a picot stitch. And that gives us a nice little bump there. All right, now we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to go to the 4th double crochet of this section. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to stitch a single crochet. And chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to go to this chain 2, and we're going to stitch the same that we did here, the shell stitch with the picot. So we'll stitch 2 double crochets, 1, 2, chain 3, slip stitch in the top of that stitch, and 2 double crochets. 1 and 2. We're going to chain 4, We'll go to the 4th double crochet, 1, 2, 3, 4, and stitch a single crochet and chain 4. See how that's going to work? All right, so now we'll go over to the chain 1 space of our point corner and stitch that same shell stitch, 2 double crochets, chain 3 for the picot, slip stitch in the top, and 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, and chain 4. Get some more yarn out here. All right, now we'll count over 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and stitch a single crochet in that 4th double crochet and chain 4. Then we'll go to that chain 2 space and stitch that shell stitch with the picot. 2 double crochets, chain 3, slip stitch in the top. And you might notice I do go through both those loops. A lot of people just go through the one. I go through 2. I think it holds it better. Just my opinion. All right, 2 double crochets and chain 4. And that's the way that the repeat's going to work. And you want this to be a little bit loose between, kind of give it a little bit of a lacy feel. It doesn't need to lay flat. It's just a trim to sort of give it an illusion that it looks like a pumpkin, just sort of. We want it to have that feel for the fall colors. So we'll continue this around, stitching our shell stitch with the picot, single in the 4th, chain 4s, and then our shell stitch with the picot in that chain 2 space, and repeat all the way around, and that makes a beautiful trim on our doily. So I completed the trim all the way around. Isn't it beautiful? I just think it adds just a fun little extra pop to it. All right, so I joined to the chain 3 here, cut my yarn. I'm going to go in that next stitch and grab that loop and pull it to the back of my work. And tie that off. And now I have a few things to weave in here. But it looks absolutely stunning, doesn't it? Now, one thing to remember, if it's not laying as nice and flat as you would like it to, you can always spritz it with some water, lay it out flat on a towel to dry, and I like to put them on my dryer. That way when I'm running a load of laundry, the heat will come up through that dryer and dry that nice and flat. All right, so I have to weave in this one from my first color, and then these 2 ends from my trim, and then it will be all complete. So here's our demo that we did with the ombre yarn, and it's absolutely stunning in my opinion, with this sort of mossy green. And this is, of course, acrylic yarn. Okay, here is our cotton one. And it's gorgeous as well. And I love them both. Now this one in cotton is about 1/4 inch smaller, just a real small amount. And I think that's the difference between maybe this particular medium weight number 4 cotton and this medium weight acrylic. But it's okay with me. I love them both. And I can't wait to start using these in my fall decorations.